Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Successfully Single podcast. My name is Leslie M. Tillman. I am the host and the CEO of Successfully Single with LM. And today we're going to be talking about single and isolating. What nobody really wants to share. Did you hear what I said? Single and isolating, what nobody really wants to share. I categorize myself as an attractive Black woman, and sometimes I do get lonely. Sometimes I do get bored. Sometimes I do want to put my clothes on and go to the club. But I know the outcome of that. God reminds you, remember the last time you tried that? How did it work out for you? It wasn't that the club was sin. It just wasn't for me because I had already seen the outcome of going to the club. And it brought me nothing. It brought me nothing. It brought on isolation, alcoholism, depression, men that weren't for me, friends that weren't for me. It didn't bring me anything, nothing good. So while I'm in the middle of my loneliness and I get that thought in my head for a second, it goes right back out. When I get that desire to make a phone call, to call someone from my past and make up with them and get back with them again, God reminds me, it didn't work out so good for you, Leslie. Why would you do that? That's what God tells me. See, I have to make a decision that for the rest of my life, I'm going to be careful about my actions and my decisions when it comes to this world and being single. That every time I get bored, I'm going to fall into a trap. It's mind over matter. Yes, I pray. Yes, I go to church. Yes, I have a mentor. Yes, I fast. Yes, I seed into Successfully Single to keep me busy. Yes, I have a grandbaby. Yes, I have a full-time job. And I have two careers, two businesses. But what gets me the most is when I see people come on social media and they talk about how God is supposed to keep you. And you don't know how to keep yourself. And you have to be chastened by the Holy Spirit. And you got to do this, and that. You can do all you want to do to prepare, but those desires are still going to be there. They're not going anywhere. There's absolutely nothing you can do to make those feelings of loneliness and desire for someone of the opposite sex. But we're going to stop that part right there. But it's hard, y'all. It's hard. People don't realize it. When I say it's hard, it's hard. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But going into 2024, we have to be aware of the traps that the enemy tries to set in our mind and around us and on social media to tell us how easy it is to be successfully single or to be single. No, it's not easy because I live it every day. But I refuse to let the enemy win. This battle is mine and it's the Lord's. Because I know it says the battle is not mine, it's the Lord's, but it's my battle too. because it's a battle in my mind. It can be a battle in your mind. When you get to the point and you're single, you have to be very careful about isolation. Isolation can creep in and cause different things to transpire. You might decide to call old boy up in the middle of the night and have him come over. You might decide to go to the club. You might decide to dip off somewhere. You have to always be on guard, because the enemy wants you. When you've decided, I'm going to wait for who God has for me, if in fact it ever happens, because I'm not saying it's going to happen. If it happens, if he destines it to happen. But the word says in Ecclesiastes 4, starting at verse 9, because we need each other. And see, the enemy doesn't want to see us together, because that's when the depression, the loneliness sets in, and you're thinking about making all these decisions, and you've cut people off, and so you don't have anybody to talk to at all. It's just you and your walls and Netflix and some ice cream. You haven't been to the gym in months. You come home and you go straight to bed. Ecclesiastes 4 in God's Word version says 2 people are better than one, because together they have a good reward for their hard work. If one falls, the other one can help his friend get up. But how tragic it is for the one who is all alone when he falls. There's no one to help them get up. If you don't have someone in your life you can talk to, it's going to be harder for you to deal with those feelings and those emotions and those desires. I'm blessed that I have 2 sisters and a brother, but I have 2 sisters. One's married, one is not, and we have developed a very, very close bond. So when I'm feeling a certain way, I can go to her and I can be honest with her. I have other friends I can go to and I can be honest with them. I don't necessarily always go for advice, but I got to get it out, how I'm feeling. And if you isolate and you don't act like you got family members, you don't act like you got friends, things can begin to take place in your life. Baby steps. Because see, sin is cunning. Sin starts out as baby steps. So just say, I remember one time when I quit smoking, I threw the pack of Newports away, right? So finally one day, I went and bought a pack of I bought a single Newport. And I smoked it on the way home from work years ago. Nobody will know. I just wanted to have one cigarette. And then I wanted another and another. And the next thing you know, I was back to a whole pack. I've dipped in the water when I wasn't supposed to. And when I dipped in that water, I wanted more and more and more. So I can't play around with it. It doesn't work for me. Once I walk in sin, I'm back trapped in it. So I have to be careful that I don't fall back into that same state. So back what I was talking about, but with isolation, you have to be very careful and you have to be open to share. And we don't want to share Some of us are Tyra Banks, Kim Kardashian, tall, skinny, small, two waist, long weave hair, BBLs, and you don't want to admit, the fat, skinny, short, tall, pretty, ugly. We don't want to admit sometimes that we're lonely. We don't want to admit sometimes, even as church ladies, that we haven't crept around, that we haven't been creeping with someone. But you haven't shared it. You haven't shared it because you've been suffering in secret. And when you suffer in secret, you start to do things you normally wouldn't do. You do things that are out of character. See, when you isolate, you can get in trouble. Trouble. We have to be mindful. We have to be mindful, ladies, and we cannot isolate. So what I know about isolation, and I know that what I dealt with, is I had issues with isolation, and I still do a little because I have issues with trust. Okay, I'm going to get real with you. I have issues with trust. When you have issues with trust, you tend to isolate because of what has been done to you in the past. You've had men who have stolen from you, who've betrayed you, who have lied to you. And I've had women do the same to me. And in my past, I have done it to women and men too, in my younger days. I've apologized. But do you think any of those people have apologized to me? No. To get over betrayal and mistrust, it's hard. It's not an easy thing. It's not easy. It's not easy to let new people in your life when you've had so many people betray you. There's something my sister was talking about, and we'll put a pin in this, but please comment if you've looked into betrayal trauma. We'll talk about that on another episode. But when you have trust issues, you tend to isolate. And then you might have a few friends, but you don't tell them a lot. You don't tell them what goes on when you close your door. You don't tell them what goes on when you lay in bed at night and you cry yourself to sleep. You don't tell them how angry you are and that you're just tired of being alone and bored. You have to get to a point where you got to be honest with yourself about where you are and be honest to share it with someone else. And I don't care if they go back and tell it. It is about you getting free and relieving some of that pain off of your back and out of your mouth, because that's where deliverance comes. And I'm still not saying you're still going to have issues with it, but it's going to get easier. And then some days it's not going to be easy. Some days you're going to have to call somebody like, you know what, I'm just not feeling today. I've been crying all day. I don't know why. We have to quit isolating. This is hard. We have to quit. We have to be honest with ourselves. We have to build a life that is gratifying, but yet and still be honest with ourselves. Because the lies that people tell on social media, you may never be 100% fulfilled, but you got to learn how to deal with it, how to take it with a grain of salt, how to have faith, and be patient. And understand you are beautiful. There's nobody in this world like you. God made you that way. And it's okay to be you. And it's okay to be honest with where you are at in your singleness, regardless of how many Bible verses you read or how much you speak in tongues. But God is going to be there. He's going to support you. I'm going to support you. But really, really, really think about finding a mentor. If you don't want to talk to your family, think about finding a mentor. Ask God to give you a mentor. I have a subscription service that's $15 a month that you can join. We'll be meeting weekly. It's $15 a month. It is not automatic debit. I will pull the money every 30 days. It'll come out of the account, but it will not be automatic. You can cancel at any time. But we have to, in 2024, we have to be committed to change. We have to rebuke the spirit of isolation. We have to rebuke the spirit of depression. We have to rebuke the spirit of fakeness. You know what I'm talking about? Everything's always, I'm okay. But I'm going to be here for you. And we're going to get through this together. Because God's got a blessing with your name on it. Like that song. But I just wanted to stop by and discuss that with you because I had a lot going on today and my emotions and feelings were all over the place. Because one thing as a single woman is when you're getting to the money and you're tired of sitting in the house, every time you go out of the house, you have to spend money. So as single women, you can spend more money. Because if I didn't want to be bored and lonely in the house, I could have went somewhere. I could have went shopping. I could have went to the movies, spending money. I could have went and visited some friends, spending money. But I'm trying to be disciplined in my money, so I stayed home. So those are things that single people have to really weigh about. It's like, okay, well, I can be gone every weekend, but what's my bank account going to look like? So I got to really start to deal with me and be able to be where I'm at and quit isolating and talk to other folk and get off that couch when it's necessary. Because in the summertime, nobody should be in the house. We outside. We outside every summer. Winter, I understand. Write that book. Write that curriculum. Have that retreat. Do your prayer board. Do your vision board. Volunteer. Start another business. Spend time with your nieces and nephews. Study the word. Read books that edify your mind. I've been reading John Maxwell, Winning with People, because I want to tap into people. And when you've had trust issues, you have to learn how to reconnect with people, with other women. So you all have a blessed, wonderful night. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Thank you for joining us on the Successfully Single podcast.